So we have been talking about sustainability, and allow me now please to share with you how it all got underway for me. It all started about 17 years ago when all of a sudden, out of the blue, I started feeling the need, almost the urge of doing something for the environment, something to lower my carbon footprint. And so I had this brilliant, this unheard of, this grand idea of, planting a tree. I know in retrospect it's not such a brilliant idea, and in fact the poor guy even died. But building upon that spectacular gardening failure, I tried several other paths, and among which I had some photovoltaic panels installed on the roof of my house. And that seemed a much more brilliant idea. However, as you might know, the energy production of photovoltaic panels strictly depends on how much sunlight hits them. Therefore, the peak production takes place approximately between noon and 3 p.m., more or less. And around that time of the day, unfortunately, if you are like me, you are having dinner in a fancy restaurant downtown or somewhere. So the takeaway here is that we are not always there to use the energy when it is produced. The only option we have is either to use it while it is produced, so being there, or to sell it to the grid, which is the infrastructure of high voltage cables and substations, which takes care of delivering energy to our homes and to the cities. We don't have to do that to the selling process of the energy personally, because we can delegate our smart electricity meters to do that on our behalf. So the electricity meter contacts the electric utility company, notifying them that it wants to sell our energy to the grid. It's an automatic process, and the electric utility company tells, okay, yes, we are willing to buy your energy, and are offering maybe 8 cents per kilowatt hour, which is not much, especially if you think that what we are producing, what we are offering, is extremely clean energy, so basically carbon-free energy. However, we don't have much a choice here, and our smart meter has to accept. It says, okay, it starts selling the energy to the electric utility company, and the energy starts flowing from the panel through the meter to the grid. The funny thing, however, is that the same day when we get back home, and you know that in the evening there is not so much sunlight, not even here in Italy, we need to maybe cook our dinner in the microwave, or to use the dishwasher to check our email on the computer, or maybe even watch a TED talk on TV. And to do all that, how is that done? What do we need? We need energy, exactly, thank you. We need energy. And this is the process, the similar process is that the smart meter in this case contacts the electric utility again, stating that it wants to buy energy at this time. So the electric utility company says, okay, yes, you can buy energy, and we are offering it at 25 cents, including taxes, per kilowatt hour. I mean, we can feel we are being ripped off, because that's the same amount of energy you've been selling them the whole day for 8 cents per kilowatt hour. But also in this case, the smart meter doesn't really have a choice. It has to accept, and so the energy starts flowing from the grid through the meter to our homes. And we owe the electric utility company 25 cents per kilowatt hour. This scheme, which has been the only one available for the last decades, does not only force us to buy at high prices and to sell at low prices, it also forces us to do something we would rather avoid. Because every time we switch on an appliance in our home, we're actually ordering the electric utility company to buy and burn on our behalf non-renewable fossil fuels. So basically, we are burning dinosaurs, even if it's not true that oil comes from dinosaurs, but just to make the point. And allow me to share with you a real-world example here. Every time we run a dishwasher cycle, we need to add 2 spoonfuls of dishwasher detergent. We need to add water and an espresso coffee cup. An espresso coffee cup of what exactly? Of oil. We need to burn a coffee cup of oil every time we're running a dishwasher cycle. And then we have to wash that coffee cup too, maybe, even if only metaphorically. And this is not the only fallback, the only drawback of using energy coming from renewable sources, because at times we have to buy energy from the grid. And when we do that, we are actually buying energy which is produced in the traditional and large and distant power plants. That means that the energy needs to travel 50, 100, or maybe even more kilometers to reach us. And during that process, the energy, part of the energy, between 5 and 10% gets lost. It becomes heat. So it's not available to us any longer. That's called a transfer loss, a technical term. To be clear, that is energy which is produced at the origin. Its process releases greenhouse gases, but that energy never makes it to our homes. And before we get to the page of the good news, because there is good news at the end, there's one more piece of bad news we need to consider. And that is that at times, the grid is not physically capable of absorbing the energy we are producing through our photovoltaic panels, through our wind turbines, or whatever, because the lines, the high voltage lines, are at capacity, they are full, they are overloaded, they cannot take in any additional energy. This phenomenon is called, this situation is called curtailment, and in peak periods, it can reach up to 50%, even if on an yearly average, it settles down at one-digit values, luckily. But still, I feel it's a big wasted opportunity to harvest free energy from our beloved star, the sun. So how can we make things better? How can we improve how we are using the current installation of renewable energy sources and the ones which are to come? What if we brought a neighbor of ours into the game? A neighbor who might need our energy, who might want our energy when we are not there, when we are away. That would be much better, because the energy that they use would not need to be sold to the grid and bought back at a later time, so incurring a double the toll in terms of transmission losses. And if instead of thinking of a single neighbor, we brought into the game more neighbors, like 10 people, 10 families, or an entire condo, that would be even better, because virtually all the energy we are producing with our photovoltaic panels or the wind turbines on the roof of our house would be consumed locally and at the same time. So there would be no need to transfer energy. There would be no transfer loss, no additional fees, no taxes, and maybe even no suffering dinosaurs. So this scheme can be called an energy community. An energy community is essentially a community, a consortium of people who can produce and use their own energy. In this example, the energy can be rated at maybe 15 cents per kilowatt hour. That means that producers are happy because they do not need to undersell at 8 cents per kilowatt hour to the grid, and consumers, we are happy because we are not buying at 25, including taxes, but we're buying 15. We're buying at 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So everyone is happy. And in fact, renewable energy communities are so important that the European Union published 2 specific directives on that, which have been transposed by almost all member states by now. And several countries are even subsidizing the creation of energy communities. That means that governments are paying people, they're paying us to create energy communities, to save money and to cut the carbon footprint. In Italy, for example, every megawatt hour which is produced and consumed within one of those energy communities is rewarded with 110 euros, which is not bad, because it's in addition to the fact that we do not need to buy energy in the first place from the grid, because we are producing it. Until now, what we have seen are examples of physical energy communities. But let me allow to walk you into the realm of virtual energy communities. If instead of thinking of a single condo, we thought of multiple condos, multiple groups, multiple houses, and a situation where I can buy energy which is produced not on my roof, but on the roof of the condo next to me, on the other side of the road. And we extend that not to a neighborhood, but to a part of a city or to an entire city. it's easy to start conceiving a situation where a city is serviced by multiple virtual energy communities, in particular, multiple virtual renewable energy communities, where all the energy which is produced by photovoltaic panels, wind turbines, biomasses, biofuel, you name it, it's used there, and at the same time it is produced. So everything is very compact and does avoid in full all the wastes which are associated with the traditional ways of exchanging energy. There are, of course, several issues which need to be solved. And one, for example, is the fact that we cannot run new cables between our homes and the wind turbines, which is 100 meters far from us, because otherwise the city would start looking like an unmanageable network of cables. So we need to come up with a way to convey two things in a smarter fashion. So we need to convey information and energy. Information is transferred, is exchanged between all the smart meters which are at our homes and the smart meters which are within the areas where the energy is produced by renewable energy sources, so near the photovoltaic panels or near the wind turbines. And it's basically a way to allow these smart meters to exchange information like on a smartphone group chat, where someone can request energy, some other can sell it, stating which is the origin of that energy, where it comes from, what type of energy it is, if it's from a wind turbine, if it's from micro hydropower, whatever it is. And the next thing we need to transfer is, of course, the actual electricity, actual power. And how do we do that without running new cables? Well, one way could be to use the existing cables, which connect our homes with the electric substation and the photovoltaic panels with the same electric substation. That would sound great. However, both the cables and the electric substations are owned by the electric utility company. And they might or might not be so inclined as to sell us or to provide us that interconnection service, because they would renounce to part of their incomes by selling energy and while buying energy from renewable sources. However, thanks to the European directive we saw before, they are now obliged to do this, to be so kind to us and provide us with that service. So we can today actually transfer energy from a building which is 300 meters from our home and to our home directly. And that's a courtesy of the European Commission. We could even bring this concept farther. We could extend that and bring in, for example, thinking, for example, of a neighbor who owns a large battery pack, okay? Or maybe even an electric car, which is essentially a battery pack on wheels, okay? She could buy energy in the afternoon and sell it in the night, during the night or in the evening, when the photovoltaic panels are not producing. Or she could be even smarter than that. She could, for example, watch up the weather forecasts, see that tomorrow there will be no wind, so the wind turbines will not be moving, and she could buy therefore energy today, keep it stored in her car, and make it available to the community the next day. And everyone would be happy. I would be happy to buy energy from her, and I would be thankful to buy energy from her, because that's a service she would give to the community. So there are a lot of issues, technical, financial, legal, and other types of issues which need to be consolidated before this concept becomes a reality. And all these are being investigated and integrated by an ongoing research project, which is called VPP for Islands, which aims to virtualize all the aspects of the production of the energy, of the consumption profile, and the exchange of energy packets. And I'm talking about exchange of energy packets because one day the energy produced by our photovoltaic panels, even the ones who are already there, will become a digital asset, will become a virtual commodity, which will allow us not only to connect to the condo next to us, but it will allow to connect the condos of the whole globe. And I think that the actual benefit of this concept, of this idea, is not only that we will be sparing money, but it is much more It lies much more in the fact that it has a potential to slash our carbon footprint. And in that sense, preliminary research by Brunel University London shows that applying a virtual renewable energy community to a closed area, like an island, like the island of Grado, here in Italy, who is a partner of the consortium, would allow us to cut the energy, the carbon footprint by 54%. And in my opinion, that's massive. So there are a lot of benefits in this, but I think that the one additional benefit, which cannot be computed, cannot be transposed into numbers, into money, is the fact that creating an energy community allows us to feel we are part of a group, of, you named it, a community, which transcends us as individuals. And I also think, actually I believe, that creating virtual renewable energy communities across the globe will help us align the consciousnesses of all of us and let us finally understand that the fight for this planet is a fight which can only be won if we fight it together. Thank you.